Greetings of the day. As you all probably know, today is World Day Against Child Labor, so I would like to speak about it. Every year on June the 12th, the World Day Against Child Labor is observed to raise awareness of the plight of child laborers worldwide. Hundreds of millions of girls and boys around the world are affected. Child labor is a problem in both developing and industrialized countries. World Day Against Child Labor 2020 focuses on the impact of crisis on child labor. The COVID-19 health pandemic and the resulting economic and labor market shock are having a huge impact on people's lives and livelihoods. Unfortunately, children are often the first to suffer. The crisis can push millions of vulnerable children into child labor. Already, there are an estimated 152 million children in child labor, 72 million of which are in hazardous work. These children are now at a greater risk of facing circumstances that are even more difficult and working long hours. This year, the World Day is conducted as a virtual campaign and is being organized jointly with the Global March Against Child Labor and the International Partnership for Cooperation on Child Labor in Agriculture. A joint ILO-UNICEF paper on the impact of COVID-19 on child labor, to be released on 12th of June, looks at some of the main channels through which the pandemic is likely to affect progress towards the eradication of child labor. Children around the world are routinely engaged in paid and unpaid forms of work that are not harmful to them. However, they are classified as child laborers when they are either too young to work or are involved in hazardous activities that may compromise their physical, mental, social, or educational development. In the least developed countries, slightly more than 1 in 4 children, ages 5 to 17, are engaged in labor that is considered detrimental to their health and development. Africa ranks highest among regions, both in the percentage of children in child labor, 1/5, and the absolute number of children in child labor, 72 million. Asia and the Pacific ranks second highest in both these measures. 7% of all children and 62 million in absolute terms are in child labor in this region. COVID-19 has plunged the world into a crisis of unprecedented scope and scale. The harmful effects of this pandemic will not be distributed equally. They are expected to be most damaging in the poorest countries and in the poorest neighborhoods, and for those in already disadvantaged or vulnerable situations, such as children in child labor and victims of forced labor and human trafficking, particularly women and girls. We can tackle the problem of child labor by taking these steps: spread awareness, more stringent laws and effective implementation, sending more children to school, discouraging people to employ children in homes, shops, factories, etc., and by supporting NGOs like Save the Children. So at the end, I would like to conclude by saying, initiatives from civil society have given tens of thousands of children the means of living a dignified life where they can cherish their childhood. Save the Children has forged powerful relationships with the government and national and international bodies to make child rights a movement. Fighting child labor requires a multi-pronged push, and there is a need to make this a people's issue. Thank you all for watching my video, and spread awareness.